There we go. Did you hear that?
Yes, and the meeting is being recorded. It's being recorded. Hey, listen, y'all, this meeting is being recorded.
Yes,
Okay. All right,
there,
whatever.
there's a recording in progress.
Golly. How are you, Ms. Alicia? How are you?
I'm I'm good. I'm doing this means I'm talking to you from my phone as opposed to my computer. And
What?
yeah, is that fancy or what?
You're too fancy for me now.
Well, this is the way it should have been all along. I just hope the audio turns out good. I'm so incredibly comfortable. I'm in my car and I've got the seat back and I'm sitting here looking at the view. I'm in your property, in your driveway at your cottage, by the way.
So, so you're at Weird Mountain, in other words.
I'm up on the mountain looking down. Yes, ma'am. And so, how could I not be in a wonderful mood?
Hmm.
Yeah, I
How
wish
about
you were
that?
here.
Yesterday was so pretty and sunny that
It was.
in spite of everything, I was like, you know what? It's warm. The temperature's in double digits. Sun is out. Sky is blue. Ah, how bad can you feel? Yeah, it was just amazing.
It it that feeling was it was like manna in the desert, I think is the
Yes.
term. It just felt so good to sit and rock and have the sun on my face for just a minute or two. That was wonderful. It did so much.
Mm. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was good.
I always kind of think to myself how different life is since the digital life came along because we don't have we don't have the ability to disconnect. And so the disconnecting thing for people who are a lot younger than us, Byron, those folks never disconnect. And if they
No.
do, it makes them nervous, really, really nervous. Okay. But I'm old enough to remember when I was completely not digitally connected.
Me
And
too.
yeah, so the disconnect for me feels relaxing when I'm free to just disconnect and not obsess over social media, obsess over the news, be on the phone, be texting, be doing my digital game, keep my macular degeneration eyes on a digital tiny little damn screen like an idiot. Uh, so when I am able to not do that, then I get to look around me and remember the things and the people and places that are important. And it's like, wow, I need to do that as much as I can. I really do.
Me too. And to be conscious about it.
Yeah.
Like today, I told you I took my friend. I was her driver for her colonoscopy.
Ah,
So
okay.
I took a notebook in case I wanted to do some writing,
Ah.
and I had my phone in case I wanted to catch up on that stuff. But I found myself once she got checked in and then went inside to have the procedure.
Mhm.
I just found myself sitting there, not thinking about anything, not looking at anything, just kind of zoning out. It was good. It felt good.
Yeah, soaking it up. That's me. That's how it was for me the other day. And when I got here, my intention was to set up my computer and just have an office in my car. I used to have a mobile office for real. I just really wanted to kind of be here, and it just feels, I don't know, I feel very connected to this place. I'm more able to talk about stuff when I'm here, is what it feels like. And Imbolc is coming up, and it's kind of a big deal, don't you think?
Well, I do, but honestly, it's a big one for me because I made my dedication, God, 30 years ago, 25 years ago to Brigid.
Yeah.
But and I usually spend the whole month of January really prepping to do Imbolc. But
Mm.
I had a couple of book events in January. New book came out. Still dealing with all this Helene flapjacks. And plus this tooth thing. And I just found myself thinking, oh no, you got it, and this, and you haven't even done this.
Mm,
And at some point yesterday, I just went, that thing's not going to get done this year. I'm not going
mm,
to be doing that. And
mm.
maybe I'll do that next year. Maybe I'll pick that thread up and do it again, or maybe I won't. But we've got a ritual Saturday night, and that'll be fun. And then
Yeah.
Sunday morning, I'm doing the sermon over at Jubilee, and that will be fun and
Oh,
welcoming.
cool.
Yeah. But as far as the rest of it, because the other thing is, a week from this coming Monday, we leave for New York for that damn trip.
Mm.
So, and in between, I got to buy something fancy to wear and have oral surgery. So
Now,
I'm
now,
just,
now, why do you have to
I'm
buy
just,
something fancy to wear?
because it is a black tie wedding.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and Joe got his tux out. We got it pressed. I did a little repair on it. I got to wear. I
Mhm.
got to find something that I can wear while he wears the tuxedo that is not black.
That is not okay.
Well, it's a wedding, and I don't know. I have a thing about wearing black to weddings, and everybody keeps saying, "Well, it's in New York. Everybody wears black to weddings in New York." Well, I'm not in New York. I'm not a New Yorker, and it is
Right.
always. I've always considered it ill luck to wear black to somebody's wedding.
It is quite trendy now for the bride to be completely in black, even hose and everything.
Well,
Quite trendy.
good
Uh,
for them.
yep. You know how I feel about all that trendiness.
Same way I feel about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've got a lot of stuff I got to do. I've got to, get tires on the car and just all the stuff you got to do. And I just don't feel like doing any of it because I'm tired. My jaw hurts. I'm annoyed. I mean, all of that.
Annoyed.
Yes. Aren't you? Are you not annoyed every time you hear at least a little bit of news? Doesn't it annoy
Annoyed.
you?
Uh, Annoyed.
Well, because it's not a
I'm annoyed
surprise.
at a certain voice. Every time I hear it, I get irritated. Okay.
It's, I mean, none of what's going on is a surprise, or it shouldn't be.
No, but
If
it's
people are
more of a sense
surprised
of
by it,
dread that I have than
yeah.
it is annoyance. Although, like I
Well,
said, the voice annoys me. I
yeah.
just, you know, like nails on a chalkboard. So yeah,
Yep.
it's I've been fighting a constant kind of bad attitude. That's what I would say.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But you know what? We got the weirdlings. They're amazing.
Are
What?
they?
Yeah,
Are they amazing? Because
yeah.
I want them to take on the leadership we talked about yesterday.
Oh,
I
I
want
think
them
they
to.
are.
I want them to get on it.
Yeah, they're gonna help a lot of people during in the future. They're gonna help a lot of people, don't you think? And they're gonna make you proud. I have a feeling. So you know, the next thing for them is they're gonna want to know, well, what do I do to be that person we were talking about? So the answer to that is, well, what's your skill set? What are you comfortable doing, and what are you able to do? So maybe you should be the person manning the phone lines. Maybe you should be the person gathering documentation or gathering information or writing down history. But you're going to have to decide that for yourself. I'm saying to the imaginary person who's asked me the question. They
Uh
have
huh.
to figure out for themselves what they can do, and they need to know that not one person can do all of it. Like you can't save the entire world, Byron, even though the world would like you to, and even though you would if you could, you
Yeah,
know.
because we're not. I mean, this is what I said to somebody last week. We ain't gonna save the world. The world's done. What we're gonna do is
Mhm.
rebuild.
Yeah,
That's all we can do.
exactly. And so the question is, from the ones that I'm speaking with, is generally, well, what am I supposed to do? And none of them feel ready to be called leaders. as I was saying yesterday, a leader's not somebody, in my mind anyway, who's just barking out orders. Leaders are people who, real leaders are people who inspire other people to do the right things. They're people who do the right thing when nobody's watching. They're people who take their skill set and they put it to some sort of practical use. Those are leaders in the community, because at this point, other people are just sitting there on their couch. So when you can get up and do something and be a good example to folks in the community, that's leadership. Wouldn't you say?
I was just letting you get on with the sermon.
Sorry. I
No,
can. I'm sorry.
It was good. Yeah, well, I've been practicing now for a while the idea of non-attachment to outcome.
Yeah.
And, I've been preaching my own sermons about all of this, every damn bit of this.
Yep, you sure have.
For longer than I even want to think about. 20 years, easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'm just going to be straight with you. I'm just tired of talking about it.
Yeah.
And the proof of the pudding is in the eating. So if I hear you making, not you personally, but if I hear people making good sounds and not doing good works, it means nothing to me. Nothing.
Right.
And if you want to walk your talk, I'm going to walk with you and I'm going to stand with you while you do it. But
Yep.
if all you can do is talk, then I ain't got nothing for you. And this new thing pretty new thing, it's an old thing that I've been working on in a new way, that I try not to have any attachment to outcomes. So I preach the sermon, I answer the questions, I guide you along, blah, blah, blah. But if even after I have taken your hand and walked you to the path and started you on the path, if you're still hanging on to my arm, I don't have anything else for you.
Mm.
And I have no attachment to anybody actually doing what it is they need to do. So when they do it, I am happy and amazed and delighted and grateful. But I have no expectation of that happening. Because I just can't anymore.
You know why? It's because that way you are not affected as much by the outcome. Disappointment, the next thing after disappointment is anger.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. Because I can't do any more of that. None of it.
Right. And anger, once you're in the stage of anger, you're not thinking logically, you see?
No.
So you're staying under control by doing this.
Well, I'm setting boundaries for myself.
Yeah. If you keep doing it, I'll be proud, including taking care of yourself a little bit. So you have to do that every now and then. Sometimes you need some downtime. Sometimes you need to sleep. Sometimes you need to attend a meeting or a dentist appointment. I mean, it's just the truth. And so I know that you could spend every minute of the day helping somebody who deserves it. But you can't do it and actually live any kind of life or be effective at anything, really.
Yeah,
so
that's the truth.
That's the deal. I wish people would help you in that way, instead of expecting you to drop everything. And I know I've done it to you, and you've been so gracious about it.
Oh, no, and it gets done to you too. And that's why you understand it.
That's why
people are always reaching out their hand and saying, help me, help me, help me. But boy, if you need help, who do you call? Me.
Byron.
And if I need help, who do I call? You.
Oh, well.
So
Ghostbusters.
Yeah. So I mean, that's good that we got somebody we can call, but
yeah,
damn, when I think about you on the phone all day long, with somebody who's got
Well,
some kind of issue, and they're expecting you to magically fix it in some way or connect them with whoever can fix it, or to eat up your time by
yeah.
keeping you on the phone talking about whatever their damn problem is now. I don't know.
Mhm.
I get ill with it. I think we all want to lead by example
Uh,
because that's the way most of us really learn anything is by seeing it done.
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we can go, oh, that gives me an idea of how I can do that too.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Um, but the culture, the way it is right now, which is just wrapped up in chaos and madness,
Mm-hmm.
it it's like people are drowning and they're just reaching out, hoping you'll throw them a line.
Yeah,
That's all. And
that's
that's a
true.
better way to say it than what you just cut out.
Yeah. Uh, well, and part of it is this is my repayment for being a good bullshitter because for some reason people seem to think that maybe I know what's going on or maybe I could help them or something. And it's like, no,
But
I'm
you,
just BSing the whole time. I don't know
no,
anything.
I mean, you say that, but that's just not true. You do know a lot, and you know a lot. You're like me, you know a lot of people. So
Yeah,
if you can't help with a problem, you can say, well, but I can hook you up with so and so, and I think they could help you.
that might be my place in the cave. Honest, it might be my place in the cave as the person when the bomb drops. Although now that's not really a joke, is it? I shouldn't say that, but
No, it's not.
my place in the cave is to put people together that should be together that can do
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't sound like much, but it's what I might be
Well,
good at. And see, there are also people like you. You have the ability to speak in such a way that is entertaining enough for people to listen to you, really listen to you. And not everybody can do that. You have good command of the language, and you're smart enough to know how to use your words.
I ain't too bad for a girl that growed up in West by God Buncombe County, North
That's right.
Carolina.
That's right.
I
She's
ain't nearly as dumb as I look.
That's right. I wish Ellie Mae Clampett had said that just one time in that television pilot, just once when they were
Well,
talking about eating possum innards and all of that stuff. If just one time, if she had said, "I ain't as dumb as y'all think I am," I think I would have liked her character so much more.
oh my God. Now
I
we've just gone on to the Beverly Hillbillies. What will be next?
I
I
don't
tell
know.
you,
Well,
I am loving that project that Appalachia did. I will I will go back to that periodically. They posted it probably in all the socials, but I saw it on Twitter and also Facebook. And I'll just play a little bit of it just to hear it because I love hearing all those accents.
I love it. I do
My
too.
name, my name is Byron Ballard, and I'm from Buncombe County, North Carolina.
I love the Buncombe County accent. I love it. I've got my friends, and I love the second you talk to somebody who's got that accent, you don't. There's so many things that you just don't have to say. You understand. Just like, and I'm sure it's the same way in all these other neighborhoods in the world. They'll have, the Bronx accent or whatever, and the guy will feel a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, well, I mean, when people talk, though, you talk. There's already a kind of a common ground.
I,
I'm gonna change the subject now
yeah,
before one or the other of us gets in trouble.
yes.
Um, every year, by the time Imbolc rolls around, the snowdrops are blooming in my yard. Not
Okay.
this year. Not this year.
I haven't seen
So
any this year at
there,
all.
there's a little clump of them that's right at the driveway, and
At the
I look
cottage
out
or
for
at
them
your house?
at my house. And I look for them every year, and they're always blooming by Imbolc.
Hmm.
Well, I finally found where they were coming up
Yeah.
2 days ago. So they are starting to come up. But
Hmm.
there's another little batch of them out in the backyard. near one of the rose bushes, and so I went sneaking around looking for them, and they are up and
Mm.
blooming, and they look wonderful. So it feels like Imbolc again for me because the snowdrops are blooming. Yay!
Mm. Yeah. Well, do you have a favorite thing about the ritual coming up or the holiday coming up?
I like everything about it, every darn thing.
Is it
I
because it's
love
Brigid?
I love the putting out the cloth that becomes the cluties, and I love s'moring the candles, and I love
Mm-hmm.
singing the songs and pouring
Yeah.
milk on the statue, all that stuff. I love all of it.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. It's special. It's
It
very
is.
special. And it just felt so pleasing to me to do those ancient crafts. It did. It felt,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
love doing those things too. The hands-on stuff. It makes me
mhm.
really happy.
Yep. And I guess my favorite one, I kept that Fooey. I can't remember the name of it because I'm talking. Um,
The Bridget's cross,
yeah, I
Bridget's
kept it
wheel.
on. Yeah, I kept it on my dash of my car, and then eventually the sun just, crumbled it to bits. But
Ride
I
it.
probably would have to take it off. I think lately because so many people assumed that it was a Nazi symbol. Did you know that?
Isn't that funny? Yeah. Well, I mean, it has the same origin. It's a sun wheel, just
Yeah,
like the swastika is a sun wheel.
yeah, but it's missing quite a bit of the. But
Well,
anyway,
it doesn't have the little legs on it like a
yeah.
swastika does.
Yeah. Well, I guess it could be popular nowadays. Who knows? But
Oh
so
my
many.
gosh, isn't that the truth? I'm
That was
so
so not appropriate.
no, but I'm
Lord, I
telling you,
apologize.
and I think you and I have talked about this before, but I was so glad that my daddy was dead
Yeah,
January 6th when that flag was in the halls of Congress. It would have killed him.
I
Would have
know.
killed him.
It's well, and I wonder if that's why it hurt. It was like a punch to the heart.
Yeah.
It hurt. And I wonder if it is the same way for people who are, say, 30 years old or younger. If they had that same kind of feeling about it when they saw that.
Probably
You know,
not.
yeah.
Probably not, because that feels, that would be the way we look back over Civil War era stuff.
Mm. Yeah.
I mean, they'd be like, "What?" I mean, who
Yeah.
cares? It was like Germany a million years ago. Ugh.
Right. Right. Well, it just changed so many things. But anyway, huh. Okay, so we were going to talk spring and happy and
Well,
uh,
we were going to talk about Imbolc, and I guess I'm gonna circle
bridge.
back around to Bridget and say the one of the really nice things about Bridget is that she made the transition from goddess to saint effortlessly.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just a smooth transition. The Catholics came into Ireland. They said, "Oh, you got Bridget. Well, now she's Saint Bridget. So you still got her." So she has like an unbroken lineage of veneration farther back than we can even calculate.
And wasn't it because they kept her as Saint Bridget because they knew the people would uprise if they didn't
Yeah, because the people loved her so much,
so much.
and she was all over the place,
Yeah.
and lots of little wells and churches and whatever. So but the other thing about Bridget that is particularly interesting in kind of the neo pagan world is that often we have kind of trivialized goddesses so that this goddess is the goddess of rivers, this goddess is the goddess of trees, this goddess is the goddess of healing. But
Okay.
Bridget really, she is a goddess of everything. She encompasses the four classical elements. She encompasses anything you can imagine, with the
Mm.
possible exception of sex. And
Mm.
I've never heard her as a fertility goddess, but she's the goddess of the land.
Well,
So in that
but
sense, she's a fertility goddess.
I just never thought of that before. I don't
Well,
think in those terms. I'm so not a mother.
well,
That yeah.
right. Yeah, exactly. Well, when you start talking about, well, she is the goddess of inspiration and poetry and bards and creativity. Okay. She's a goddess of healing. She's a goddess of smithcraft. So here we get to fire.
Mm-hmm.
She is the goddess of, she invented whistling. She
Mm.
invented keening. She is the goddess of the waters. She's the goddess of the soils. She is the goddess of baking bread. She is the goddess of the forge. She is the midwife of the Blessed Virgin. She is a shepherd. She's a milkmaid. I mean, you name it, and
Mm.
she makes beer.
Mm.
She does it all.
Well,
You name it, and there's probably a story that Brigid has done it.
well, that's interesting. Now, first of all, I didn't know that she was a goddess of keening. I bet
Yes,
that's an interesting story.
yes, she invented keening and whistling.
I didn't know that, and I also
Yep.
didn't know that she was a goddess, or excuse me, that she was the midwife for Mary
Well, then that was, of course,
the,
that came once she
from the
became
church.
Saint Bridget, and not just the goddess Bridget, but she her legend is that she stepped over the lintel into her own cow barn because she was going to do the
Mhm.
milking, and she was transported through time and space back to the birth of the baby Jesus, where she functioned as the midwife
Wow,
to the Blessed Virgin and delivered
wow.
the baby, wrapped him in swaddling clothes, laid him in the manger, made a casserole, made some tea, calmed Joseph down, all that stuff that midwives do. And then when all that was done, she stepped back over the lintel of that barn and she appeared back in her own barn so she could finish her milking.
Yeah, and drink some of that beer.
I mean, isn't that a great story?
That's an awesome story. Well, see, she's empowered. Nowhere in
Yeah.
that in any of that did you say she had to ask somebody's permission.
Oh, Lord, no.
So, but she
No.
also she doesn't she even though she could she doesn't appear as scary as like Callie,
Well, yeah, I
one of
mean,
the
it's
dark
a
ones.
whole different kind of energy, but she can be
Right.
scary because she's
Hmm.
the goddess of the forge. So
Oh
don't think she can't jerk your soul right out of your body and
well.
stick it on an anvil and start hitting it with a hammer because she will.
Wow. What a thought.
When the veneration of Bridget came to the New World, the so-called New World, she got rolled into those beautiful Afro-Caribbean traditions, and
Yeah.
she became Maman Brigitte, who is the queen of the dead.
Ooh.
So, man, she does it all.
Mm.
And I don't know of another deity that does that.
No, I don't
Of
either.
any of them,
No, I
except
don't
maybe
either.
the Abrahamic one God,
The one
the so-called one God.
the one God which has the three faces.
Right, and certainly has never acted like a midwife or
No.
made beer that I know of.
Uh
Did change water into wine.
right, as even that was his first magic trick.
Yeah.
Public magic trick anyway. So that makes him a cool dude for a while. And
Yeah, I guess. I guess.
there were many years there that were unaccounted for him. And the story goes that he was studying Buddhism, that in he
He
was
was in
not
the
in
east. He had
yeah,
gone to the east.
yep.
Yep.
And when he came back, then he was living more into what we expect.
Mm.
I don't know. I'll
It's
take
the stories are interesting, aren't they? There's a story about, and Bridget also sometimes is a little bit of a trickster.
yeah.
So there's the one story about she went to the king. This is Saint Bridget. Saint
Mm-hmm.
Bridget goes to the king and she goes, I want to build a big monastery, and on one side it's going to be women and the other side it's going to be men, and I need you to give me the land to do that. And the king goes, oh, sure, little lady, I'll give you all the land that your cloak will cover. And so she whips her cloak off her shoulders like a matador, and
Uh-huh.
it covers 5,000 acres of the Curragh in Eastern Ireland.
Nice.
And and there's another story of her hanging her cloak on a sunbeam because she got hot when she was working and she just took the cloak off and didn't have a place to hang it and hung it on a sunbeam. And I guess my favorite Brigid as a trickster story is this when she had built her big old convent and she was always healing the lepers out in front of the building. And she had a big old tub. I think of it like those big aluminum stock tubs, watering
Uh-huh.
tubs.
Uh-huh.
So she had a big tub out there and she would wash the lepers and they'd go in with leprosy and they'd come out and they'd be healed and she'd dry them off and they'd, I guess, get dressed and go on their way. I don't know. I hadn't thought it through that far, but so she's doing that one day. She's healing the lepers. La la, you're healed, you're healed, you're healed. And some little young'un comes running from the monastery, the convent, to say, "Mother, mother, the bishop's coming. The bishop's coming, and we don't have any beer." And so Bridget very calmly helps the leper out of the leprous bathwater and changes the bathwater into beer. And that
Oh.
and that's what they give the bishop. And
Mm.
I find that so damn funny. So, oh no, here's some beer for the bishop. I just happen to have some right here. Just disregard any floating chunks you might see in there. Just
Oh.
scoop those out because this is good beer. You're gonna
Oh.
like it.
I'm gonna have to put a trigger warning just on that one
Just
description there. Oh God, that's disgusting. Anyway, and
and
the
there's a
thought that came
wonderful
along with it that I didn't say out loud, that was also a disgusting thought. Ew. So
well, and there's also a sweet poem or song. I don't remember which one it is. I would love to give the Lord and all of his disciples and angels a lake of beer that they could drink from and be happy and joyous and feel, refreshed. And it's a lovely story. I'll see if I can find that and send it to you.
okay. I'm hearing the Big Rock Candy Mountain song while you're saying that.
Big rock candy
And the
mountain.
little streams of alcohol come trickling down the rocks.
Yes.
That's
Oh
happened
my
several
God.
times lately to me that I've just kind of been sent into this land of lyrics.
Oh,
And
well,
for,
that's not a surprise because you're such a musician.
I'm so glad that it's happening. I'll tell you, it's hard when your environment is not conducive to hearing music or being creative or whatever. It's hard because day after day after day goes by and it starts to feel like a bleak landscape after a while. And you
Yeah.
just forget creativity, everybody's capable of it, but it's not something that comes bubbling up to the top all the time for everybody.
That's
And
true.
so for me, I have to nurture it. I'll have my creative thought and then I have to kind of stay in that little mood and stuff and I can keep going with it. But
Yeah.
I also have these times where I'm very, you know, uh, dry, very logical, and I'm using that part of my brain. And
Yeah.
the two of them don't usually meet.
When I was working at the bookstore, it was the late 90s, early 2000s, when there
Yeah.
were a lot of these self help books about, jacking up your creativity and getting more creative. And, all my little North Asheville matrons would come in for the latest thing to boost their creativity. And
Yeah.
I think I turned to my boss at some point and I said, you know what I'd like to have? I'd like to have a book to just slow my creativity down a little bit so I could get some damn work done, like clean the kitchen and do the laundry and maybe get the ironing done instead of going, wait, I think I could write a play. Wait, what about if I learned to play this musical instrument? Wait, I think I'll paint a painting today.
Yes. I need a new language.
Exactly. So I kind of need a 12 step, but I'm telling you, Helene has been a good 12-step program to to knock the creativity right out of me because
I mean to tell you.
I got other stuff to do. I just don't even think of that.
Well, I've already been hearing some music. I
That's
have,
good.
and it's good. It's coming out. It's coming out a little bit at a time in music. Helene will live on. I'm quite sure of that. I want to know if anybody named their child Helene.
Well, I'm trying to think. Let's count what 9 months is from the end of September. December, January, February.
June.
So long about June, we'll see if any young'uns are named Helene.
Yeah, June, July.
See what the community needs because
Mhm.
if you suddenly feel like food is going to be scarce and you want to grow food, you don't necessarily check out your skills. You just go, okay, well, how can I do that? So
Uh-huh.
I think those two things would go hand in hand. Either you would check out your skills and do what your skills lead you towards, or you would suss out what the needs of the community are and figure out if you were the person who could learn enough to do them.
I think that's the way. I think that's a better way.
I think both of them are good
Yeah.
ways. I think they work together.
Yeah, just see, well, I think find out what the needs are and then see if you have any skills that could help with that. So that's a good way.
Or you
And
can go to
don't,
YouTube and learn how.
yeah, that's true. But I think the next thing I would say is don't have an expectation as to what your the thing that you end up doing is going to be or what it's going to be called. I mean, I never thought I turned into the woman who delivers incontinence supplies to the rest homes,
Yes,
the
you are
medical
the
facilities.
incontinent queen.
I'm the incontinence queen. I never thought that would end up being the thing that I was called to do, but it does help, and I'm satisfied that I'm able to help. You see, so there you go.
But that's not all you do. I mean, you just got
Well,
that was a niche for you because you had the connection.
yeah.
And you went,
Well,
"Oh, yeah, I know where those could go."
Well, I'm lucky enough to be able to have a skill set and I can do more than one thing and I'm willing to. Not everybody can because they might have more tight schedules than mine, or they may just have more responsibility than me. But people, that's how you start doing it. You just go do something that you're able to do.
And honestly, for all the people that are panicking right now or they're angry and they're afraid, I get that. I get that 100%. But I promise you, if you will go out and do something to help somebody else or help a situation,
Hmm.
you'll feel better and you'll
Yeah.
feel less. You may not feel less angry because I think it's a very angry time, but you might feel less afraid
Yeah.
and less anxious because that one family is going to have enough food to feed them for a few days because you went to the grocery store and you bought a box of just basic food and you left it on their porch.
Yeah. Yep. I've seen that several times.
Yep, me
And
too.
I caught the person doing it, and it was to someone who was across from where I was, and I caught him doing it, and he looked at me and he smiled and he put his finger up to his mouth as if to go shh, and I just smiled at him and nodded, and
Yep.
I thought he's one of the helpers.
Well, absolutely. And I can remember my dad when I was little. He he would he'd hear that somebody either in our community or somebody that he worked with in their community, he'd hear, he couldn't stand the thought of young'uns being hungry. And if
Mm,
he heard somebody had been laid off or was sick and they didn't, he would just get him a bag of groceries and he'd just leave it. He wouldn't knock on the door or anything. He'd just leave it because he didn't care if they knew it was him. He didn't want them to know it was him.
yeah,
He just
yeah,
wanted to make sure they weren't going to be hungry.
yeah. And boy, people like that they're the real angels, if you ask me.
Yeah, me
Anyway,
too.
I guess I have given you all my news that I can
I
think of anyway.
and I got a lick of news myself that you don't already know.
That's good. I'm happy to hear that.
Yes.
So I'll just, we'll cut it off here, folks. And thank you for listening. Boy, I sounded like one of my older generation relatives when I said that. We'll cut it off here, folks.
Well, it's all done now.
Yes.
Y'all just try to have some behaviors and make sure if it rains, you got your umbrella in the car,
Keep it in the
and
middle of the
maybe
road.
and get you some galoshes too, so your shoes don't get wet. This is how we're going to talk when it's the what is it called? All grands.
Oh, yeah. All
We're
any
going to talk.
grands.
And we're
Or
going to talk like this, and we're going to talk slow like this, and well, young'uns. Now, if you need one of them little bonnets, little rain bonnets, I've got one in my pocketbook that I have in case it's raining when I come out of church,
I
so
forgot
that
about them.
my hair doesn't get flattened out.
Oh,
So if you need it, honey, you take it right out. It's down in the corner of my pocketbook.
and didn't they fold up like a fan? And
Oh,
then they,
or they went into like a little plastic tube, or oh yeah,
yes, yes.
so weird. And so them little church women would have like a little hair bonnet, and they'd have little galoshes. All that crap would be in their pocketbooks
Yeah.
with some tissues and some, gum, maybe a
And
mint or two,
for sure, a mint or two. And their
cigarettes,
change,
box of matches,
their little
coin
coin
purse.
purse,
Yep,
and the little
yep.
travel Kleenex. They had to have that along with a real handkerchief in there somewhere.
Yes, ma'am. And possibly a little something to eat, like some cookies or half a sandwich.
Especially if
Ah,
they were traveling around children.
yes, they would have little hard candies. And oh, golly, I'm back in an old timey reverie now. Like a little Debbie oatmeal cake might be in there,
Oh, you might be
and
right about
and
that.
so this is how the only grands is going to sound. Well, Mel, darling, my sweet darling, I hope you have a good evening. Rest your evening, Miss Alicia, and that you maybe have a little bit of hot cocoa before you go to bed, so you sleep sweet.
Well, I think I will have some of that. And I want you to make sure and take real good care of yourself and check that window and make sure that it is closed because it's going to
I
get really
will.
cold tonight. You don't want
I'm.
that coming in.
I'll make sure it's locked too, so can't nobody get in.
Right. That's a
All
good thing.
right.
Okay. Well,
Get
you make
so
sure and call.
so y'all. That's the preview of only only grands. It's our only grand side. We're gonna make some strawberry shortcake and some pineapple upside down cake. God. And
I
then we're gonna
believe
eat it, by God.
I'm
Oh,
laughing
Alicia, I'm getting
so
punch
hard.
drunk. Y'all be good.
Yeah.
Go
Okay,
home.
so
Everybody
yeah,
go home, settle
I
in.
will, Byron. Yep.
All
So
right.
no other news. I'll talk to you
All right.
soon. Say you
Love
thank
ya.
you. I love you.
Bye.
Bye.